Hi, guys. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about what science will look like this week if you choose to do it. Science is optional, but it also includes reading. So, if you need to get your reading in, this is a good time to do it. And then you can read about something that's a little bit more fun than maybe even reading, or you can have an activity. So, if you don't get your science done, it's not going to hurt your grades. But I put it in there because I know that it's one of the funner things to do, and we've been doing it all year. So, why should we stop now? Most of the science information that you need this week is already in your packet. And those things are reading and just some little activities. There's one reading piece I didn't put in there, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I'm going to send you a link to it in case you want it. If you don't end up reading it, it's okay. There's also an extra video too. So, the first thing you're going to do when you do your science this week is this end of mystery assessment right here that you can see. It's mystery number 4. So that's the one we just did last week. And basically, it's just saying, okay, use your imagination a little bit. What would you invent if this was the material that you had? So the first one is a kind of sticky glue. So kind of like the Post it. Well, they invented the Post it in the video, but what would you invent? What would you use that invention for? The electromagnet glass, remember the glass that you could see through it, and then they flipped a switch and you couldn't see through it anymore. What would you invent with that? Where would you put that? What kind of a cool thing would you invent? They were putting it in cars, which would help, but maybe there's something different. And the third thing, if you had a superconductor, that was that magnet when it's super cold that it would float, and they invented the hoverboard with it, what would you invent with a superconductor? So use your imagination. This one is saying sometimes they combine two different properties. So parachutes have a light material, but they're also strong. So they want you to circle two different properties and then create a material that has those properties. And with that material, what would you invent? So again, this whole thing is about inventing. What kind of new ideas could you come up with? So you just have to think a little bit. Can't really get it wrong. So that's why it's kind of fun to try that out. When you're finished with that, then you'll go to the mystery 5 of our material magic unit. And in this mystery, you're going to get to try to build a house. They ask you to use note cards for the supplies. If you don't have them, that's okay. I'm sure there's other things you can use. I'm not really worried about it. But the idea is trying to come up with a way to make it taller and stronger, or tall and strong, and see what you can do. This would be something you could do with your family because it takes some problem solving. When you're finished building, when you're finished with this activity, then there's some extra things that you can do. This one right here is something you'll use for the activity. So this paper towels paper you'll find actually in your packet. So if you see it, this is what it's for. Doug will actually tell you what to do with it. And when you're all done, you can watch a video about how they built a house out of snow. The video looks like this when it starts, and I can imagine you already know what kind of house that is. It's built out of snow, but they actually show you how they do it. So it's really interesting. And then there's an article that you can read about a house of snow and ice, just to give you some more information. When you're all done with all of that, this is the article I didn't put in your packet. This page is in your packet, and it's at the end of mystery assessment for mystery 5. So there are a bunch of different science things this week, but they don't take very long, and building something is always super fun. So they just want to know, what are some properties of paper? Can we change the properties of paper by folding it? So think about what happened when you were making the house, and based on your experiments, do you think you could build an entire house with paper? And then tell me why. This is the big deal right here, is explain to me why you could do that or why you couldn't. What would be some of the problems that you might encounter in that? I think that's one more question. And a large structure that's made from smaller pieces. So what's an example of something that's really big, but it's made from really tiny pieces? So this is all I have for you for science this week, but I hope that you enjoy it and have fun. And talk to you next week. Bye.